Hello, everyone. Welcome into the program Simply Life. I'm Keith Casebolt, my dear friend who created the radio program, Gary C. Johnson. Welcome.
Wonderful to be here.
Yes.
Better than wonderful.
Yes,
to be
my
here.
friend.
My friends, today we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude and loneliness and some other stuff.
And I'd say there's been a little bit of both of those during this trying time that we've had this year, haven't we?
Well, over the years we've talked several times about when you give a gift or do something for someone, that it is tainted if you expect gratitude. It's not a true gift.
You've generated some of the best conversations I've ever had in my life because of what you've said there, because I've had people say, "What do you mean you can't expect anything in return?" I said, well, that's what Gary says. If you give a gift and it's from the heart, you're not to expect anything in return.
Not even gratitude.
And they all say the same thing. You mean not even a thank you?
That's right.
I said, I'm just telling you the rule.
I was looking at Dale Carnegie's, one of his books, Lifetime Plans for Success. And I want to read you a little section on it. Because I thought it'd be appropriate for a program when you're talking about loneliness and gratitude, because somehow they can go together.
Isn't that the truth?
Now, here's where I'm going to start reading, folks. This is Dale Carnegie's writing, by the way. I know a woman in New York who is always complaining because she is lonely. Not one of her relatives wants to go near her, and no wonder. If you visit her, she will tell you for hours what she did for her nieces when they were children. She nursed them through the measles and the mumps and the whooping cough. She boarded them for years and helped to send one of them through business school. And she made a home for the other until she got married. Do the nieces come to see her? Oh, yes, now and then, out of a spirit of duty. But they dread these visits. They know they will have to sit and listen for hours to half-filled reproaches. They will be treated to an endless litany of bitter complaints and self-pitying sighs. And when this woman can no longer bludgeon, browbeat, or bully her nieces into coming to see her, she has one of her spells. She develops a heart attack. Is the heart attack real? Oh, yes. The doctors say she has a nervous heart, suffers from palpitations. But the doctors also say they can do nothing for her. Her trouble is emotional. What this woman really wants is love and attention, but she calls it gratitude. And she will never get gratitude or love because she demands it. She thinks it's her due. There are thousands of people like her who are ill from ingratitude, loneliness, and neglect. They long to be loved, but the only way in this world that they can ever hope to be loved is to stop asking for it and to start pouring out love without hope of a return. Does that sound like sheer impractical visionary idealism? It isn't. It is just plain horse sense. It is a good way for you and me to find the happiness we long for. I know. I have seen it happen right in my own family. My own mother and father gave for the joy of helping others. We were poor, always overwhelmed by debt. Yet poor as we were, my father and mother always managed to send money every year to an orphan's home, the Christian home in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Mother and father never visited that home. Probably no one thanked them for their gifts, except maybe by letter, but they were richly repaid, for they had the joy of helping little children without wishing for or expecting any gratitude in return. After I left home, I would always send father and mother a check at Christmas and urge them to indulge in a few luxuries for themselves, but they rarely did. When I came home a few days before Christmas, Father would tell me of the coal and groceries they had bought for some widow woman in town who had a lot of children and no money to buy food and fuel. What joy they got out of these gifts, the joy of giving without expecting anything whatsoever in return.
Wow.
Isn't that powerful?
Now, that is so powerful And some of our friends are listening to this and they're saying they may agree or they may not agree. Or they may say, now I do that already. I already give without expecting. Let me tell you something, friends. When my dear friend Gary C. Johnson first taught me this principle, I said, that's what I do. I do things for people and don't expect anything back. Until the elderly lady that called the radio station, I bought her the air conditioner and told the people not to tell her where it came from. After 2 days, she'd never called to say thank you. I was tore all to pieces. After 3 days, I thought she had to know it was from me. After a week, I thought, I can't believe she didn't even call. And finally, after 7 days, she called up and said, honey, thanks for the air conditioner. I would have called you before, but I sat in front of it and got pneumonia. I've been in the hospital and almost died. But here all these emotions went through after I had convinced myself that I did things from the heart that I wanted nothing in return. You taught me the lesson. I was wrong. I was wanting something in return. I was wanting just what the lady in this book wanted. I wanted gratitude. Selfishly, I wanted gratitude. That was a tough lesson to learn.
It's hard to do. My friends that are listening right now, I know you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if I could ever do that. It's hard. It's hard to give just for the purpose of giving without expecting anything in return. But if you look at the definition of a gift, you should never expect anything in return if it's a true gift.
I had a dear friend that said, tell Gary I was able to do it. I gave without expecting anything in return. He said, I saw some women at the grocery store selling cookbooks, and I went over and bought them all. And he said, I did that out of my heart. I said, did you tell anybody? He said, oh, yeah. I went home and I told my wife what I did, and she hugged me and kissed me and said, you're the best husband in the world. I said, wait a minute. You just broke the rule again. You got gratitude by telling the story to your wife. And he was like, it's impossible. Tell Gary it can't be done. It can't be done.
Well, I don't give my friends easy chores.
Oh, my goodness. This may be the toughest.
I ask my friends to not criticize.
Yeah.
I ask them to not gossip.
Be impeccable with the word.
That's right.
Yeah.
I ask them to not take anything personal.
Not to assume.
Not to assume anything.
All the things you got on the list are just nerve-wracking to try to do.
And the most I can hope for from you, my friends, is for you to recognize it when you do it. I beg my friends to not give unsolicited advice. Now, let me tell you, when you're getting ready to give unsolicited advice, here's some of the words you'll use. Now, I would have done...
If it had been me.
If it had been me.
Mm-hmm. You know what you should have done?
Yep.
Isn't that good?
And you can tell it every time you're going to do it. Well, I think a different color would have been a better match for what you needed.
Yeah.
And there's any number of ways you can start off that giving unsolicited advice and not even know you're giving it. And all you're doing is camouflaging criticism. It's a criticism that you're trying to sneak up on them so you can criticize them. And you don't even know you're doing it, my friends. That's the amazing thing about it.
Well, and then as you're reading about the lady in the book, I was thinking about the words used for gratitude. After all I've done for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those words come out. I did this for you. I did that for you. Keeping score.
Well, being human,
Mm-hmm.
which all my friends, I believe, are without any question.
Oh,
Right?
we're more human than we ever realized.
It is hard to not expect gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely difficult to not say, after all I've done for you, look what you're doing.
Yeah. But now let's be clear. You're not saying that people shouldn't show gratitude. You're saying you shouldn't expect them to. Is that correct?
I'm saying don't demand it.
Don't demand it.
Most people do show gratitude.
I would say the vast
But
majority.
the minute you demand gratitude, you have tainted the entire transaction. Because it's up to the other person to freely give their gratitude. And you cannot demand it without turning them away from you, no matter what you've done for them.
So the person that's out there saying, but I did such a nice thing for this person, and they didn't even call and thank me or write a thank you letter.
Then that's fine. You don't think one thing about it one way or the other. The burden is now, if there is a burden, is now shifted to the person that received the gift. If they choose to have gratitude, if they choose to say thank you, if they choose to say, well, I'm going to do something for you, that's their choice. But it should never be something, my friends, you demand that they do, because all you do is turn them away from you. Like this woman that I read about with Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
And the bitterness takes over, and you do nothing but destroy your life and make sure no one ever comes to see you.
Boy, now you're doing that self-look. You're having to look deep in yourself, just like this lady. Why did the girls not want to come around her? Because everything that she was saying was demanding gratitude, and it was also in the form of criticism.
And she may very well have been entitled to gratitude and probably would have gotten it had she not demanded it.
Now, that's a great point. She was entitled to it and would have probably gotten it, but by her demanding it, it made the two girls not want to give it.
And, well, it was impossible for them to give it because they're human.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point I'm making, is we're nothing more than human. And if you demand love, you won't get it. If you demand gratitude, you won't get it. Now, somebody may fake it and act like they're doing it.
You know,
but you're not going to get it.
I really love the story you read about Dale Carnegie's parents sending the money to the orphanage. And he made it real clear. They never visited the orphanage. They never wrote the orphanage a letter. They sent the money out of the goodness of their heart. And he said, I don't know if anyone ever contacted them and thanked them. Maybe one person did, but they weren't expecting it at all.
That wasn't why they sent it.
They sent it
to help the children.
And out of their own heart. So they got the blessing from sending the gift, right?
And when you do something for someone, you do get a blessing. You do, in your heart. And you feel good.
And that's okay.
And that's exactly the way it should be. But you shouldn't expect more than that.
I think I see where you're going.
Or demand more than that.
I think I see where you're going with this. If you're demanding, then you're taking away the good feeling, just like this woman. She ruined the good feeling of helping the girls because she didn't get the gratitude she wanted from them.
And because of her demands, she's lonely. And that's what we were talking about, gratitude and lonely. You can turn people away from you so easily by demanding and being bitter when you're with them and talking negative. My friends, try smiling and try being positive. And if someone's talking negative, change the subject. Ask them what the weather's going to be. Anything. Just change the subject. Get away from negativity, because life is full of negativity that it pushes on you no matter what you do. Don't buy into it yourself and take off with it and run with it. You cannot be negative and be happy. I believe that with all my heart.
I 100% agree with you.
You cannot be bitter and be happy. You can't think about yesterday and all the things that's happened to you in life, because there's a bunch of stuff that's not good. Everybody out there that's listening, there's stuff in your life that's happened that's not good. I guarantee you, my friends,
It's called life,
and
isn't
if
it?
you dwell on those things, you will ruin the rest of your life.
So, finishing up this subject before we move on, what could this lady have done with the girls in order to had them come to her, showed interest in their lives, ask questions about what they're doing, genuinely be involved in what's going on with them without asking for that gratitude?
Make sure she had something fixed for them to eat when they come.
Yeah.
Smile, talk about their family and what they're doing. Have it bright and cheerful when they come. Never ever talk about anything that she's done for them in the past. Understanding that that's the past. It would have been so easy for her to have had all kinds of people want to come and see her and visit her.
Who wouldn't want to come to see that person?
Yeah.
It's uplifting. So, and basically, all she needed to do was listen to what was going on in their lives.
Yeah.
They would have shown the gratitude because they were able to live those lives because this lady helped.
And talk to them about who they may be helping.
Passing it on.
And encouraging it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so simple when you break it down, but this lady was just completely blocked by the wall that she had done all these things for the girls, and yet now they won't even come and see her to the point she was actually physically getting sick.
And she drove them away by those demands.
And I'm sure these girls are good girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked up a little old bitty book called Little Secrets of Success by Donald Walters. Just ask you, I saw one thing in it, and I'm going to read it to you folks. See this day as a fresh beginning. Why go on thinking about what happened or about what you did yesterday? Life is a river flowing constantly onward. No drop of it will ever pass the same bridge twice. Now's your chance to do things in new ways better than ever before. That's a good little saying, I thought.
That's a wonderful saying.
I read read it from my friends.
It's a wonderful saying because it basically tells anyone that might be stuck in the situation of the lady you read about, they can change that, and they can start changing it today by doing just what you said.
Plato said, and I'll give that quote to my friends again, I have on this program before. The first and best victory is to conquer self. And that's what I'm talking to you about on this program, my friends.
Oh, my
Conquer
goodness.
yourself.
Gary, that's probably one of the most important things that you've pointed out. We like to think there are forces out there, people that we have to overcome, situations that we have to overcome. The truth of the matter is, the biggest thing we have to overcome is ourselves.
And one of the things I'm trying to talk to my friends about is to not have a sad soul.
Hmm.
Now, let me tell you what John Steinbeck said about a sad soul. The sad soul can kill you quicker, far quicker than a virus.
Isn't that the truth?
And it will. And it gave that lady I read about heart attacks.
Well, and, you know, I still feel so sad about the email that you got because you could feel the darkness wrapped around the individual who is explaining to you there's no way for anybody to be happy, and that there was no way for this lady to be happy because of all the things that had gone on in her past. And you could just feel this lady in a dark, sad place.
When she doesn't have to be there. And that's what makes me so sad.
Yeah, there is an opening. You can get out of it, but there was no way that you could convey that.
Now, what did George Washington have to say about what we're talking about? Well, I'm going to read you. We ought not to look back unless it is to derive useful lessons from past eras.
There you go.
George Washington.
I can give you one to go along with George Washington. Every time I've made a bad mistake, Gary C. Johnson has said, "Did it sting?" And I've said, "Yes." And you said, "Good. You probably won't do that anymore."
And I've read this one before from Theodore Roosevelt. Do what you can with what you have where you are. And it's been a long time. It just popped in my mind about talking to my friends about being there.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you now, my friends, have heard me say, be where you are at the time, not somewhere else. Be in that moment and that moment alone. Don't be worried about what happened yesterday. Don't be thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, but be right where you are. Everyone that's listening to this program is somewhere.
Exactly.
You're always going to be somewhere. Be where you are at the time, no matter where it is, and enjoy it.
You know, that's one thing that I will commend you for. Over the years, I've had several people say, can you get me a meeting with Gary C. Johnson? And I said, yes. And the one thing that you will find out, if Gary takes the time to meet with you, you will have his full attention. He will not be on the phone. He'll not be on another call. He won't be distracted. If he says, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, you will have all 10 minutes of Gary's time. And that is something that not a lot of us can say. And we break that rule, and we shouldn't, because you're right. You should be there.
It will enrich your lives, my friend. If right now you are where you are in your heart, mind, and soul, if it's listening to this program, be there with us.
Mm-hmm.
Just be there.
Be engaged. Yes. Yeah. Question what we're
saying.
saying.
Question what we're saying and think about whether or not we're fools for saying it. It's
well,
okay.
Like it, dislike it.
Engage with it.
Yeah, at least pay attention.
And if you say you're stupid, Gary, that's fine. At least you're being there. And I may be wrong.
No.
I frequently am, you know.
No.
As I get older, I wonder how many times I've been wrong. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess all I'm saying to you is think and don't let life pass you by so that when you die, your dash has been wasted on being miserable. That's what I'm saying to my friends.
You know, when you first talked to me about that lesson, I thought about a gentleman I knew that went to his son's Little League game. And he stayed in the car, and he stayed on the phone, and looked through the window instead of getting out, going over to the field, and being engaged with his young son's game. And I thought, this is what Gary's talking about. If you're going to be there, be there.
Don't be on your phone. If you're engaged with another human being, be there with them every second. And the richness you will get out of it is unbelievable, my friends.
I can tell
you. It will change your life.
I can tell you one thing you're going to find out. A 2-day vacation with the family of being there is better than a 7-day vacation and not being there.
It's a 1 day.
Yeah, even a 1 day. A 15-minute meeting of being there is better than a 1 hour being distracted. You're 100% right. It is so much better when you do that.
And I don't know why it popped into my head, but it did, which tells me that one of my friends is going around not being there right now.
And I'll tell you something else that you taught me with this rule. If there's a thing that you have to do or a meeting you have to attend or if there's a job you have to do, you have told me, Keith, if you have to do it, go ahead and be there and enjoy it. You would be amazed how that changes the drive, the job, the task at hand, whatever it is. If you do what you're saying, it is so much better.
And there are things you do, my friends, that you dread.
Mowing the grass.
Stop dreading them and look forward to it.
Yeah. You know what? Now I have a good time. I put in the little earbuds and listen to the music.
How you look at it is the key to it. It's not going to change you having to do it.
And I remember saying to you when you brought this out, I had to take a drive of about 2.5 or 3 hours, and I said, boy, Gary, I dread this drive. I really hate this drive. And you said, why don't you look at scenery and see if you see something you haven't seen before? Look at the mountains. Be careful on the road, but you kind of told me embrace the drive and see what all you can learn as you drive. It turned out to be a great drive.
Watch a sunset and watch how every few seconds what you're looking at changes. That's the amazing thing to me.
Well,
It's not just a sunset, it's all the changes that make.
what is amazing to me, you're the creator of judo law, and you've told me, it's actually judo life. And you're right. You can take any negative, and with the form of judo that you've talked about, you can find the positive, and you can flip that.
And that's why it is so important for your state of not having a sad soul.
That you don't want, and you also don't want that loneliness because nobody wants to come see you because you're going to tell them about all the things you did for them.
And if any of you are out there and no one comes to see you, reevaluate what you talk about and how you act when someone does come to see you.
Hey, and the great thing that you always say, whether we're right or wrong or whether you agree or disagree, at least think about it. You'll be farther ahead.
That's right. And if just one of you will change to where that people start coming to visit you, then the whole program's worth it.
My friend, great advice. You can catch Gary's television show, Simply the Law, Tuesday nights on WYMT at 7 o'clock. A late-night replay is in Central Kentucky on WKYT. If you like to get up early in the morning to start your week, catch us on your Fox affiliate at 6:30 a.m., or you can end the week on Friday and start your weekend. We're on at 6:30 a.m., also on your Fox affiliate. If you need to get in touch with Gary, GaryCJohnson.com. Now, you've given us a pretty big lesson and a pretty big task for this week.
Let's just keep smiling.
We're going to try to give and not expect gratitude. Let's see how we do. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune into this program. Gary and I both will show you the gratitude for that because we really appreciate it. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.